Good afternoon. It's Thursday, April 16th. It's 4 o'clock, and this is an open door, beautiful website courtesy of Reverend Cindy Krupp, where we do a lot of different things almost every single day of the week. This afternoon, it's finding the Advaita, or the non-dual in A Course in Miracles. And we are going to start on page 306 with paragraph 9. And I'll put that in the chat just so folks can find that. But before we start, we're going to just settle in and um, and just do a brief meditation because it's been a long day for a lot of us, and we've done lots of other things. So we'll just settle in. Welcome, welcome. Shannon and Carol and Karen, we're going to just start by just settling in, and you could keep your eyes open or closed if you'd like. This space is defined as a cleared table, an empty table. And it's a place where we can give space to all that arises. So let's take the time now to clear our table. And we can focus gently on the breath. Just place our awareness gently on it, letting it rise and fall naturally as it wants to, not forcing anything. We use the breath almost as a portal to um, to just let the mind focus on something besides mental thoughts. And if thoughts arise or sensations arise, just come back to the breath. And let your shoulders relax. And soften your eyes. It's amazing how much tension the muscles of the eye can require. So soften them. All you have to do this is just place the attention on softening, and it just happens. And as we soften the eyes, soften the back of the head, the cervical spine, and soften the throat. Notice if your breathing changes. And soften the shoulder blades and the space between the shoulder blades. And then soften the heart. And moving downward, soften the back of the spine, the lumbar area, and soften the sacrum. And soften the belly. As we get older, our belly becomes more like our baby belly. It gets rounder. So let's have a baby belly, a soft and gently receiving baby belly. And soften the feet. And then let's come back up and soften the brain. Let the brain just relax. And know yourself welcome here. Receive the invitation to sit at this table. As the impulse comes to gather from the quality of how we are together, how we talk, how we share. This is our gift to the world. The purpose of every gathering is discovered. To recognize beauty and to love what is beautiful. Conversation and sharing rise out of every particle. It is all alive. Welcome, welcome to this cleared space, this empty table where something new can happen. When you take the hands of someone you love, what do those hands become? So let us take each other's hands and begin. So we are seeking to know the truth of these teachings. And we know the truth through our experience. And these teachings happen on several levels because their purpose is to be available to everyone, no matter where you are in a moment in time, in your life, in your learning, whatever level you find yourself at. And the truth is, we learn and we forget, and we remember and we forget, and life moves through us, and things we thought we were so certain of, we become uncertain of. So these teachings bring us back every time on every level. So there are three types of learning that the yoga or the yogas or the path of liberation talk about in the Bhagavad Gita. And these are also different ways mirrored in the way that the Course teaches. Right? There's the path of karma or action. What do we do in the world? And of course, dresses. What do we do in the world? How do we treat each other? How do we ask for help? What's the form of prayer that we should use? To have all, give all to all. And then there's the path of bhakti yoga or devotion, right? And love of God, and love of others, and love of the world. And the path of devotion is a beautiful, beautiful path. It's the path of the mystic. And all of us are mystics at some point in our life. All of us know the path of devotion and the path of action. And all those paths lead to the same place. And then there's another path, the jnana, or the path of knowledge, which uses the mind to undo the mind through inquiry and self-reflection. And A Course in Miracles uses the path of knowledge as well. By now, you are familiar with the fact that A Course in Miracles has its own way of self-inquiry. So as we move more deeply into these teachings, I want to renew my intention that we stay with the text and our experience of this text. We are looking for the non-dual teachings, but that does not require that we ignore or discount other aspects of the text that might be informative on the path of devotion or the path of action. It's not all just the path of knowledge. So, and equally important is the way we pay attention to how the text informs our vibration, our inner quality, our inner sense of peace, of love, of joy, of safety, the feeling of safety, and most important in many ways is freedom. Freedom, freedom, freedom. So, A Course utilizes tone and vibration to lift the reader into a state of reception that is really beyond words. And we cannot not pay attention to that. right? So as we read the text, I want to reinforce all of these elements as we read through. And I'm going to keep bringing us back to that and keep bringing us back to that. So let's start. And we're going to start with paragraph 9. And I'm going to ask that we read 2 paragraphs at a time this time so that we can move a little bit more quickly through. And if it seems like it might be a good idea, we can read a 3rd paragraph too. Right? But I don't want us to get stuck too much on one paragraph because it interrupts the flow sometimes. So if you want to read, please raise your hand. Otherwise, I might call on you. Chuck is going to start us off, and then May. Okay, I'm going to write this down. So Chuck, and then May, and then we'll finish out this section, and we'll move on to section 4 of chapter 8. But let's get reading and see where this takes us. So Chuck is going to start us off on paragraph 9, and it is very much again pointing to the non-duality or the oneness of all things. So Chuck, will you unmute yourself? Thank you.
Help if I open up the mic so you can hear me. I'm going to go 9 through 10, right?
Yep, 9 through
At
10.
least.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. Let's see, get my glasses up so I can see the underlyings, hopefully. All things become possible through our joint will, but my will alone will not help you. Your will is as free as mine, and God Himself would not go against it. I cannot will what God does not will. I can offer you my will to make yours invincible by this sharing, but I cannot oppose yours without competing with it and thereby violating God's will for you. Nothing God created can oppose your will, as nothing God created can oppose His. God gave your will its power, which I can only acknowledge in honor of His. If you want to be like me, I will help you knowing that we are alike. If you want to be different, I will wait until you change your mind. I can teach you only. I can teach you, but only you can choose to listen to my teaching. How else can it be if God's kingdom is freedom? Freedom cannot be learned by tyranny of any kind, and the perfect quality of all God's Son cannot be recognized through the dominion of one will over another. God's sons are equal in will, all being the will of their Father. This is the only lesson I can teach, knowing that it is true.
Thank you. So what stands out for me there is I cannot will what God does not will. I can't. And I can't oppose your will without competing with it and thereby violating God's will for you. Because it's all one will. And our teaching here is to realize that we are the one will all the time without any exception. And the egoic mind will try to find exception in everything, won't it? In everything. You know, part of me today was like, Why do we need to relearn this over and over and over again? Because the experience of this world is constantly giving us the opportunity to be pulled away, right? And then relearn, right? And then the other thing that stood out for me, and then I'd like to open it up, is freedom cannot be learned by tyranny of any kind. And dogma and religious dogma is tyranny. You know? Even the non-dual teachings can be a form of tyranny. So we only learn through freedom. And we have to be free in order to learn. And freedom is love. So I'll open it up. Anybody else have any other comments? Let me ask you this. In your life, have you seen how freedom and learning are the same? How they support each other? Can you think of a time when you have felt free and really, really learned deeply through that freedom?
I don't want to go too long, but I certainly experienced that right away in the 12-step program.
Can you say more?
I don't want to go on, but I mean the experience that I got was the acceptance and was their suggestions, not demands,
Yeah,
was the essence that I heard behind it. No must.
that's great. Yes. Yeah. For me, it was this realization that I am free to know what I am.
Going to the other thing is one of their traditions is attraction, not promotion, and I consider a promotion would be like a demand.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the other thing is we are completely free to make mistakes, aren't we? Right? And free to learn from them. Right? We are free to murder another human being. And then we're free to learn from that. That's pretty ultimate freedom. All right. Anything else? I can see people sort of wanting to say something, but then not saying anything. All right, Alice.
Yeah, I'm kind of matching this or weaving this together with like the truth can't be contradictory. You know, they can't, truths cannot be in opposition with each other. And this is like same with this freedom, but, but, um, and I think it's just tearing apart my construct of free will, which seemed like, I don't know, I had other ideas um, but it's just, yeah, we have freedom, uh, of choice and freedom of action and freedom of pathways and freedom. And I think, um, as when in a learning with question answer your question about personal learning, when things became more freedom, like in like college versus the lower kind of education, where you just do what you're told. Or that was my paradigm. And when I encountered those kind of teachers who like, and so and even like so much with in 12 step is like, you'll believe what you believe, until you change it around. But I think the truths can't be contradictory is a new like ringing bell for me, and this speaks to it.
I
This,
really like that. Truth can't be contradictory. So what this is actually saying is that you are God's being. We are God's being because God can't contradict itself. So if the truth is we are God's being, then we can't go against ourselves.
and I think that's just like why we keep forgetting and have to come back and return again is I don't know whose song it is, but it's in my head. It's like return again, return again. Um, and that is the way, it's not to be, I'm such a dummy, I'm such a, you know, slow learner, or, bad student in the course, or, by having to like it's return again, return to who you are. I'll figure out whose song that is, but that helps me return again.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, May, do you want to take that last paragraph and then we'll see what we do then. Thank you.
When your will is not mine, it is not our Father's. This means that you have imprisoned yours and have not let it be free. Of yourself, you can do nothing. Because of yourself, you are nothing. I am nothing without the Father, and you are nothing without me, because by denying the Father, you deny yourself. I will always remember you, and in my remembrance of you lies your remembrance of yourself. In our remembrance of each other lies our remembrance of God. And in this remembrance lies your freedom, because your freedom is in Him.
Thank you. I love the attention to freedom
Yeah.
because it's instinctual, isn't it? The desire for freedom. It really is.
Yeah, it's kind of like what's left when you throw off everything, that isn't that, that's um painful or, misdirected. Yeah.
And it's the path of neti neti, isn't it? I am not that. I am not the body. I am not the thoughts. I am not any of these material things. I am not my past. When we let go of each one of these garments, we become more and more free. So this chapter 8 is the undivided will to heal. And this section is freedom of will. So I just want to note here that healing and freedom are the same. Healing and freedom are the same. I just want to point that out. And then Cindy, you're up next, and then Mel.
Thank you. Freedom. I've spent some time with this chapter. We've been touching on it in different meetings over the last couple of weeks, right? So, um, what my playing with it in Cindy's world, I have come across circumstances that seem to be other than what the personal self, the individual self would want. And when I come back to this, and it contracted, I guess I really do like that word. There's a feeling of suffering or contraction or whatever. And when I sink into the space of I can only be here and God is always here, and there is this, just this present moment is awareness, and it couldn't be any other way. The guilt, the feeling like I have to figure it out, the feeling like, if I don't do something other than what's happening, all of that stuff drops in that moment. And there's a sense of liberation and
Yeah.
freedom in the merging, in the understanding that ultimately I am that which doesn't end. I am that which doesn't end, which is source. And so I'm noticing that in 100% of the cases, when there seems to be this contraction around wishing something was different, it's always coming from the sense of being a temporary being.
Mm-hmm.
And in the realization that what I am is not temporary, it's eternal. And so thy will and my will, or my will is thy will kind of feeling, that to me is the liberation. Like everything just goes, oh, this is absolutely the only place that I can be. And when I stop resisting it, there is the learning. Does that
Yeah,
make sense?
makes perfect sense.
So that's what I wanted to add to this conversation.
That's perfect sense.
Thank you for the opportunities. When I take this idea and like filter it into, like, it feels like funneling this knowing into words. Like there's a dropping going, yeah, that's it. And it feels really good. So thank you.
Thank you. Mel.
Thank you, Cindy. Um, yeah, what came through me was I always have this expression that a person is rich in proportion to the things he can live without. And it also, freedom kind of applies. You're free in proportion to things or desires or wants or thoughts that you can live without, which really means that you're one with the divine because you are, there's no separation there. So that's just to me.
Thank you. And it is instinctive. Um, it's part of our nature. It's and and we cover it up and we cover it up in our desire to feel safe. Right.
Yeah. Sometimes there's like a misattribution that is in resultance of like thinking that one thing is that, like dogma. Like it's like, but I think there is this perpetual kind of unfolding that happens when perception starts to shift into that inherent interconnectedness. There's like, when you really sink into that, there's nothing that like, well, it proves itself time and time again to be the truest thing. Even even in like stagnation, or like all of it is kind of opportunity to re-see our surroundment, I guess. Which is that undivided will where it's inherently it's a shared will, even if it isn't appearing that way in the like physicment, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to just go back to Cindy's point and ask another question. Do any of you remember when the realization or the conviction that you're eternal really, really dropped into your awareness? Can you remember, or have you had the experience of really knowing yourself eternal and what that means? It's profound. There is a power in that knowing that is truly transcendent. The only thing that can even come close to it is imagining unlimited space, unlimited opportunity, unlimited experience. There's so much power in that recognition. Cindy.
I love that you asked the question. My enlightenment master, better term, said that when you communicate in words, those direct experiences, you bring them further into consciousness and you can access them at any given time. And I've had a lot of those experiences where at this point it feels just like the filters dropped, to use, just like there's static and then the static's gone. And I can name lots of them, but when you said, have you ever had, the one that immediately came to mind was when I was in Levita. So I was in Colorado, I was in the mountains, and it was one of these silent kind of dietic retreats, and the actual dropping and the whole inside was empty. I can't even, like, I heard this other being speaking, and I remembered at one point there might have been judgment, but there was no judgment. I couldn't remember what it was like to be a mother or whatever. But after this, I walked outside and it felt like the space was moving through me.
Mm-hmm.
Like the only thing that was moving as a me was my awareness. And I was near a body of water and I was looking up and there was a snow-peaked mountain, and then there was the sky. And I couldn't find, I knew it was all one. Like I didn't think it was all one. It was just like, oh, oh, the sky, the mountain, and this awareness who's experiencing it all. It's all just this. And you were asking about freedom. And it's a quiet joy. There was nothing that needed to be shouted from the rooftops or convinced. It was just like, oh, that's it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that's one. I've had other jumping in puddles and sticking my feet in the river and watching the fish jump and, butterflies, like the joy I get when I see some of the new butterflies. And there's just like, oh, that's it. Because there's no separation.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So
Yep.
thank you for asking the question. Really, she has said if we can speak about these experiences, then the ego mind can't keep convincing you that they aren't happening, that they're something.
It's really important. It's
Yeah,
really important. If it's so important to deepen the awareness of your eternal nature as much as you can and to have the experience of knowing it. So that's why I asked the question, and we could spend the next 20 minutes talking about this. That'd be fine with me.
sure.
Um,
I love hearing other people's stories. So thank you,
yeah.
Amy. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Cindy. Carol, you're up. Thank you.
Hi. Yeah. Um, Something you said, Cindy. And yeah, it is. The freedom is ultimately the allowing of everything. Um, and it's not the allowing of it, but it all just expresses, and the freedom to experience all of the different expressions and being okay with it, because there is not any, it's just an ongoing eternal expression of itself.
And where's your joy in that, Carol?
Well, even the joy has different attributes, because joy can be so silent and just absolutely just complete still peace, and it can be high.
I'm gonna keep poking you because I want to
Yeah.
know what your direct experience is.
Yeah, it's like what used to be thought of as,
What you
oh,
used
well,
to think of, what you
well,
used to think
what
of?
the character used to think of, the conditioning, really.
Uh-huh.
There were messages or old conditionings
Mhm.
that would processes that would say, oh, you know, this is not a good reaction, or that isn't a good reaction, or this should be one way, or this is joy, or this is sadness, or whatever. And then the realization that those were just thought processes that don't have any reality whatsoever, that everything just is absolutely part of the whole thing. And what to say something, oh, this is really sad or disturbing, is just a thought, a believed
Okay.
thought.
Okay. I get that. I do. But I still am not hearing Carol's experience of it. And I'm not going to accept that Carol doesn't
Okay.
exist. I want to hear your personal experience with it.
With what?
With the recognition of your eternal nature.
Oh, um, just the knowing, the recognition. At first, I think it came through as more of a, okay, this makes sense, this doesn't make sense. And then it just was recognized that it was always there. And I think it first started realizing that in the absence of time, in the absence of experience, in deep sleep, in loss of time, under anesthetic, all of that, there's no experience.
Okay. All right.
But it's
Okay. Okay.
awareness. It never even started. It's always been,
Okay.
and
All right.
that's all of it.
Okay. Okay. Super. Thank you for that, Carol. Thank you. Um, Anybody else want to share? Okay. I remember particularly sitting on the floor right over there on a mat in meditation when it just dropped into this awareness, into me, that I am eternal. I don't know what the frig that means. I don't know what eternal experience is, but I am going to be here in this consciousness to experience all of it. And that just lit me up. It lit me up. What a joy that I get to be around. And there's an infinite amount of experience that's available. How can you not? Wow. I was sitting right over there. And that feeling sense, that feeling knowing has stayed with me since then. Cindy, you're up next.
Yeah, I'm just up because I want to put May on the spot
Uh-huh.
because when May talked about Joshua Tree and her experience with the hot springs last weekend, I had a direct experience
Mm.
of the eternality of what we are. And
Yeah.
so I wonder if she could talk about that some more because May is an artist, so she created an experience for me when she shared her experience. So I'm putting her on the spot.
Ah.
Well, ideas grow stronger when shared, I
Mm-hmm.
think. And sometimes, yeah, well, it's this direct transference, and it's remembering that like this happens and occurs in gradation, and it's a perpetual kind of unraveling, like, or just understanding, and it's an asking. When I talked about the hot springs, I was thinking about the whole earth and how the water is heated from the internal structure of the planet. And I think when I remember, or I guess remember is a word, but it's more just like it's a direct, it is like a dropping, it's a feeling, and I feel it like every day and in varying degrees. Like in my personal experience, like I sometimes I see like things that are more like I don't know, like not everybody, like one time I was looking at the sky on a walk and I saw a perfectly human eye just blinking in the cloud. And I knew that I was like, well, that is right there. Can't deny that. And like it was over this summer, but it recontextualized kind of other things, or and it's also this kind of remembrance that everything that has happened in our awareness is just fully there to let us loop back into this inherency of knowing that it is thought that creates our reality, and love that like ties us together. And and that's the most important thing, I think, is remembering like we are this planet, like in our entirety. Like we are that blue light, like that shines out from, like if you were looking at Earth from space, it would be just like a blue dot, blue glowing dot. Like the water is our life. Like our awareness is embedded in everything, and we're kind of like society, like the world will tell us sometimes that we're not that, but and yeah, our freedom is fully in that shared spirit that is embedded in everything. And people, like we experience moments where that trust gets like shifted. Yeah, it's the programming or whatever, something that was an opposite, but in that opposite um is the exact like way that the pendulum can swing into the opposite direction to allow one to remember their like infinitudic nature.
Infinitudic. That's a
Infinity is an
great one.
attitude.
I like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, and like my handwriting has gotten so much better as I just like think, or like I'll be able to like script more, and I know that's just like it's just thought. Like the way that we all get better is different. We're here in this collective beautiful, like enmeshed melting. Yeah, I don't know. I'm
Oh, thank
it's
you. We're
yeah,
all in the hot spring together.
exactly.
All right, I'm going to ask. I don't want to put anybody on the spot, so you can say no, but I'm moved to ask Shannon if she remembers if she had a moment of, or if it was a gradual understanding of your eternal nature. You're going to have to unmute. Thank
It's
you.
funny, a couple of weeks ago in your class, somehow it became so obvious, which it never had before, that consciousness is love and love is all there is. And I think from a child's, even when I was a child, I always felt that we were one. I just always felt everything was sentient, I guess. I don't know why, but that was the clearest, Amy, when we were in that class, and all of a sudden it was crystal clear that that's all there was. And I was listening to you, May. I was thinking, because the class earlier today, these eyes only see concepts. And that, because what is really there, we don't see, because it's space. It's that love. It's divine. Everything is that. So I think Joel said there are 25 people here, and each one of them are seeing a different concept. They're not exactly the same. So but the truth of what it is that there's only one, there's only love. So that I loved that. But it just became crystal clear what love is. I mean, it's something, back from Gerald Jampolsky's book, Teach Only Love, because that is what you are, but it never really settled like it said, like happened a few weeks ago. So thank you, Amy.
Yeah.
And Cindy, thank you for what you told me last night about my other class. So that meant a lot.
Thank you. She's probably making dinner. Who knows?
Okay.
Thank you, Shannon.
Great.
All right, I'm going to ask May if she'll start us off on this next section, the undivided will of the sonship. I mean, that's basically what we're talking about, isn't it? And May,
Yeah.
go ahead and read the first two paragraphs.
Yeah. Okay. Join then with me in praise of him and you whom he created. This is our gift of gratitude to him, which he will share with all his creations, to whom he gives equally whatever is acceptable to him. Because it is acceptable to him, it is the gift of freedom, which is his will for all which is his will for all his sons. By offering freedom, you will be free, because freedom is the only gift which you can offer to God's sons, being an acknowledgement of what they are and what he is. Freedom is creation because it is love. What you seek to imprison, you do not love. Therefore, when you seek to imprison anyone, including yourself, you do not love him, and you cannot identify with him. When you imprison yourself, you are losing sight of your own true identification, because you cannot identify with me and with the Father. Your identification is with the Father and with the Son. It cannot be with one and not the other. If you are part of one, you must be part of the other, because they are one. The Holy Trinity is holy because it is one.
So
Yeah.
freedom equals creation equals love, right? People, we ask, why did Source, the Absolute, create all this? Because it's free.
Yeah.
Free to do
Yeah.
so. And because it loves itself.
Mm-hmm.
And we are that. I wanted to just make one quick thing about the Holy Trinity. And because that it's going to come up at other times. And so I looked in A Course in Miracles, well, what is the Holy Trinity? I always think of it as the Catholic Church. And it's really just a model. It's a model of reality, right? Of ultimate reality or of reality, more or less. All that exists in reality is the Holy Trinity exists in that oneness. And I don't
Yeah.
really understand why we need the Holy Trinity, except that it points to certain levels of being.
Yeah. And I think it also points to timelessness in its structure because it loops around. It's like past, present, and future all in one, kind of
Oh, I love
in this
that.
fluctuation. Yeah. Like the way I see it is this like kind of it's almost like a molecule or something where it all stretches and weaves into itself. And that's why certain things are resonant or just um like I guess it's just the certainty of a like inherent spirit in everything that we see, that speaks to us when we remember its presence. It's because it has happened in the past and the future, and it just kind of
Yeah,
locks
yeah,
into this now. Yeah, the holy
yeah,
instant.
yeah. So here's a quote, and that kind of relates to what you said. I love your comment about time. The Son of God is part of the Holy Trinity, but the Trinity itself is one. There is no confusion within its levels because they are of one mind and one will. So the Son of God is everything that the absolute unified one created out of itself, which is itself. So there's the prime creator, which is oneness, undivided. And then there's oneness extending into infinity. And then there is the bridge between the two, which of course calls the Holy Spirit, which is really just that which allows all of the infinite creativity of the absolute unity to communicate amongst its parts.
Yeah, connective tissue, the remembrance of oneness, the remembrance that we are the light of the world,
Yeah,
and that everything can, yeah, is that in just gradation. Yeah.
I like that. The Holy Spirit is the connective tissue. I like that. Um, so, but the requirement is to just remember that it's all one, right? And not to get lost in the various levels.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Little Catholic girl for 12 years. It was like all the, well, all I can think is like all the versions of explanation I ever heard about the Holy Trinity. I was pulling it back to your three paths, like the mystic with, the mystic and the action and the knowledge. It's like I could plug those into the Trinity too.
Yes.
Three
Yeah.
is a three is a sacred thing in a lot of mythology and
Yeah. Yeah. There's many ways that we can look at that.
yeah.
It's true. Excellent. All right. We are um at 3:58. So I'm going to
Well,
just stop us right here. And we'll start on paragraph 3 next week. I want to give anyone the opportunity to just ask a question or share anything.
I would like to thank Chuck. Chuck, I just finished reading Falling Upward. So thank you for recommending that.
Yeah, good. Thank you for that.
Who wrote that?
oh, we got
Richard Rohr, right? Yeah,
Oh, Richard Rohr.
yeah.
yeah, yeah. And Cindy's gonna maybe do a gathering around oh, come on.
Joel Goldsmith.
Joel Goldsmith. She may be doing a gathering around him.
Mm.
So good. So good. All right. I want to thank you all for being here. I'm going to read our closing invocation and then we'll gather again tomorrow. Those that wish to read from Divine Union, which we will do at 10 o'clock, reading the guides together. So we'll gather again to do that. But for now, this is both a closing and an invitation at the same time, isn't it? Closes the circle. So come, whoever you are, wanderer, fire worshiper, lover of leaving. This is not a caravan of despair. It does not matter that you have broken your vow 1,000 times. Still come, and yet again. So go out there and break your vows and come on back, and we'll share experience. because we're all free, right? We are free to break our vows. God bless us all. Thank you. Love us. We'll see you tomorrow morning. All right. Good night.
Good night. Thank you much.
Thank you.
Thank you.